I'm Noland Urban. I am a coach at Millard South with the Team Under Armour Red, and been coaching here for 5 years with youth football. And the reason why I coach is basically to offer kids more than what we had when we were younger, and to get these kids playing football at a younger age, and to try to develop them into being the best players they can be on and off the field. We really value on the responsibility piece, really being team players, but also pushing themselves so they can develop mentally and be able to handle difficult situations and kind of the roller coaster ride that we all experience every day, and making them better overall kids. And I think football teaches kids that. If you look after a course of a game, there's times where kids are put in difficult situations, and there's times where they have a lot of success. And a football game, you have to deal with all of them from the first second of the game all the way to the end. So I really value just helping kids develop in football, trying to get them to be the best they can and develop more year round. So that way when they are getting into high school, no matter what level they are at, they'll be able to compete, and giving those kids that maybe have more opportunity to grow, develop to become better, to play at different levels. What makes Kingswood so special? I never played in Kingswood growing up, so we've been part of the feeder program at Millard South, and we joined forces with Kingswood just this present year because of all the opportunities and the development that we have within the organization. They're giving us a lot of commitment on growing and developing the best athletes and football players we can have on the field. And not only that, it's kind of like a one-stop shop. A lot of our kids play baseball, they play softball, they play football, and they can do that all underneath one roof and develop more year-round from one sport to the next. So it's an easier transition. We have an indoor facility where we have access to for developing our kids during the winter months all the way through the summer. Kingswood has a great board of committed people out in the community working at very high-level corporations and companies, which basically gives us the value in that commitment from a community level, that we have people that are committed to us, and we have the resources available to develop kids at different levels that we did not have before. So Kingswood's special in the way that we have a full flag program with the younger kids, a full club level with over 20 teams, and then we have the feeder program as well. So we have about every option and the flexibility for kids to be able to develop and play within and compete at whatever level they're capable of at each given age. So that's how I kind of see Kingswood and the value they bring us. The recent merger with Under Armour is a great avenue for all of our programs. We're looking for a sponsor, as there's a lot of unhidden costs that you got to look at when helping these kids along the way, from scholarships to getting them to tournaments, paying for food when they're at these, making sure that they're ready to go. Under Armour gives us the ability, not only from a marketing brand that has the same vision as us, as trying to brand an organization and a program to play at higher levels and be on that open trend where you're a trend setter and not really a follower. Under Armour is committed to us exclusively on representing all of our feeder programs as Team Under Armour. They're also representing our entire organization of Kingswood as well. When playing in national tournaments and regional and Midwest locations across the Midwest, you see a lot of these programs being sponsored by Monster Energy Drink, Team Nike, and everyone has the same level of commitment to the programs once you do get that exclusive sponsorship. And it's truly going back to the kids. Team Under Armour across the board is going to be a huge value. It's going to be a trendsetter within the communities and the programs and the teams within each of the organizations. And we're looking at it for great development moving forward. The reason why we did a development program within Kingswood, which nobody's ever done before. Growing up, being in a small town, and then going on to play college football, there wasn't really a development plan for us, and there really hasn't been a development plan in the last 5 years for any program in Omaha or Nebraska. When visiting with a lot of the powerhouses down south, with Union High School, Jenks, down in Tulsa, Oklahoma, it really brightened our eyes to see what the commitment level is and why do they have such a high level of football on Friday nights. In their championship game, they had 17 Division I players out of a town or a city that's the same size as Omaha. So it's not that they have more talent, it's just that they have a development program that's set up for these kids starting at the youth levels, regardless of their abilities and where they're at. When you look at how we've evolved and what we're doing from a development standpoint, it is truly committed to the kids. All of the coaches and the players that are committed to helping us grow and develop these kids, it's all voluntary. That's what keeps these costs down, to pay for the facilities that we're working out in. We have arranged for camps that run all the way from January through July, 7-on-7, basically organization and league where kids can get out and test their abilities. We have lineman camps where there's 25 to 30 sessions developed by players that played in the NFL to college and high-level coaches helping these kids. We have an exclusive program to Explosive Edge to help these kids develop and mature with their core body strength, and helping these kids learn how to run, learn how to move, learn how to cut. And then once they are able to hit maturity, then they start lifting weights. They start getting into the core exercises. So when they do, start to progress, these kids can take off at a lot of faster abilities. Our development is open to all kids. Right now we have kids from every age group that plays at different levels. Our commitment is to help those kids that aren't developed get developed. So you take a kid that goes into high school that maybe not be able to make a freshman team, you give that kid an opportunity now to be able to play football in high school. You take a kid that goes in as a freshman that could be a JV player, and now he's going to have the opportunity to develop where he may get that opportunity. Then you take a kid that may be an all-state kid that's pretty good, maybe a tweener type kid. Now with the skills that he's developed and carrying forward through a year-round process, now he might be able to get to that next level. And really what we're trying to do with Evolve is we're trying to evolve each kid. Every kid has the ability to evolve and get better. It's always funny when people say, well, these kids are playing too much. Well, baseball does it, basketball does it, but we ask our kids to play the most violent sport out there, and we read about it every day, to come out and play 2.5 months out of the year and not worry about everything else and go out and hit somebody. Well, their bodies aren't ready for that. You've got to teach them how to do it. What we expect out of the kids is to have an open mind. When they come in, we actually ask them to forget about what they know so that we can teach them basically the fundamentals and the process on how to develop on the football field. When you're talking about the biomechanics and how they move and how they work, all the way down to the technique of football, that's where we get down into the basis, starting from the younger ages all the way up. We want kids that are mentally tough. They come in, they may not be mentally tough, they may be fragile kids, but we try to coach every kid the same from a mental standpoint, meaning we don't want kids crying. We want them to be tough. Every kid is taught differently, every kid learns differently, but the one thing that every kid can develop is a mindset to be able to take on a challenge, whether they fail or they have a success. We want kids that no matter what situation they're put into, is to have a tough mindset. We don't really put up with people being cocky, but we also don't put up with people crying and taking a play off or doing something in a lazy manner. We want kids that are tough-minded, that can come out, learn the game of football, but also learn to be good kids from a responsibility standpoint, and being great kids in the classroom, so that way they can grow into be a good kid as they get older. And we really look at those two things with our football players. And when coaching these kids, all of my kids can always tell, we only have 3 rules. You play hard, you be a good kid, and you're going to be the best fundamentals on the football field each and every day. That's what you're going to get as a coach, and that's what we expect out of our players.